I'm Peter Block at TCT in Washington, D.C., and with me is Gregg Stone, who needs no introduction at all. Gregg has just presented, which is arguably the highest profile trial here at TCT this year, the Excel trial. So Gregg, without further ado, give me the short version of Excel, and then we'll talk about what this means.
Thanks, Peter. Well, in Excel, we enrolled 2,905 patients with unprotected left main disease, and 1,900 of them, 1,905 actually, had a syntax score of less than 32 and were eligible to be revascularized by either PCI with Xience everolimus-eluting stents or with coronary bypass graft surgery. And a large group of interventional cardiologists and cardiac surgeons put together this trial to try to find out, using contemporary techniques and devices, whether PCI was equivalent to surgery. And that's been very hard to show, as you know. So we randomized these 1,905 patients to either everolimus-eluting stents or surgery, and we followed them out for 3 years. And at 3 years, the primary endpoint of the trial was met, that is, PCI was non-inferior to surgery. There was an approximately 15% primary event rate in both groups, which was death, large myocardial infarction, or stroke. Within 30 days, though, PCI was substantially safer. There were fewer myocardial infarctions, much less infections, blood transfusions, renal failure, etc. Between 30 days and 3 years, there was a slow catch-up with surgery, so by about 2 to 3 years, the event rates once again became equal.
So let me interrupt and just say, why is that, Gregg? What's the late sort of catch-up? Is that target vessel revascularization, or what is that?
Well, it's a great question. We don't have a detailed analysis of that yet. For a long time, there's been a hypothesis that surgery has an advantage over PCI because PCI treats spots of disease, where surgery bypasses long, potentially vulnerable areas. So we don't know yet if the late increase in events, which was mostly late non-ST segment elevation MIs, were due to, again, that bypassing of untreated disease or unrevascularized territories. We do know that there's a fair amount of incomplete revascularization in both arms yet, and that's an analysis we're going to be doing more of.
Okay, so just to recap, a good stent, number one, that's important.
Yeah.
Number
Very
two,
low stent thrombosis, 0.7% definite stent thrombosis rate at 3 years, which is pretty extraordinary, versus 5.5% rate of symptomatic graft occlusion. So that helped drive the difference.
okay, so that's an important thing. You also had good data follow-up, of course, from multiple sites, and endpoints that are MACE endpoints. So clearly, the last question comes to you. If you were going to have an unprotected left, if hopefully not, you want a stent or multiple stents, or do you want surgery, since they're equivalent?
Yeah. Well, at this point, if I had a lower intermediate syntax score and otherwise met the criteria for Excel, then for me personally or for my family members, I would want to have a fluoropolymer-coated everolimus-eluting stent. I think not only are the results, at least out to 3 years, very, very similar, but getting there, the journey is part of the story, and it's a much safer way to go.
So there you have it, and indeed one of the probably high-profile results to come out of this TCT. Thank you very much, Gregg.
My pleasure, Peter.